These are the tools that I use. I use a couple hole saws. This one is 2 3/4. I use it to cut out the cup holders. And then this 1 1/8 inch is for the buttons as well as the spinner. I also use a jigsaw, of course. I cut a hole out first with a drill bit. Make sure the saw blade is smaller than the drill bit. And I will cut a hole out just to make something for the saw blade to fit in, and then I'll go around with the jigsaw, cut the holes out. Other tools, just screwdrivers, a drill, some files, sandpaper, and a bonus, a router. I'm going to start with the holes for the trackball as well as the hole for the Tron joystick. Key thing here is just to take your time, don't go too fast. I wanted to start with these two holes first because if I mess these up, then I pretty much have to start all over from scratch, and that would suck. After cutting the holes out, did some test fitting, and looks like everything fits nice and snug, so no problem. I want to do these two holes first. I made them a little bit farther apart than the previous version of BatMAME. They are for the player 2 side, so if I don't get it right, then I can adjust everything. So using the 1 1/8 hole saw, and it's just a matter of getting everything lined up and then going straight down. Always do a test fit just to make sure I get the fitting and spacing right, and it's perfect. I bought a new hole saw from a big box store. They're about 15 bucks. It's 1 1/8 inch, and you could also use a blade saw, but the holes that they cut are a little bit rougher than a hole saw. And as you can see, it still smokes quite a bit. I think that's all the chemicals and glues that they put in there. And this is how you get the piece of wood that's out there. Just use a screwdriver and kind of pry it out. And of course, I like to always clean things up. Okay, so for the cup holders, it's the same concept as the buttons, but just using a bigger hole saw. I am going to be using a 2 3/4 hole saw or a 70 millimeter. The cup holder and the 4-way joystick don't quite fit in the hole, so I'm going to have to use this file and basically shave a little bit off the hole. It's kind of a rounded file. I don't know if you can see too well. And basically I just go around the hole and file away until it fits. So after about 2 minutes of filing, I got everything to fit nice and snug. Very happy with it. It's perfect. Okay, so next I'm going to cut the shape of BatMAME out, and I'm going to follow my lines, of course, and I put arrows in to guide me in which direction I'm going to cut in. This will make things easier for me to make the cuts, and it's basically the same on the other side. So I'll be using the same jigsaw blade that I cut the holes out for the shape of BatMAME. I laid the previous version of BatMAME on top of the new one, and I'm just going to trace around the edges, and I will use the file that I have here, but I'll be using the flat side to trim off just a little bit around the edge, going all the way around. The next step is purely optional. It's to cut this slot out from the edge of your console to fit this plastic trim. Gives it a nice, clean, professional look. And you'll need a router in these bits. It's a 1.6 millimeter slot cutter in the arbor, and basically you just run your router along the edge and it does the work for you, cutting out the slot. Next, I'll be cutting out the rectangle hole for my light switch for my Tron joystick. Same concept as before, but a smaller saw blade and a smaller drill bit. After getting the rectangle piece cut out, I have to do some filing in order to get the switch to have a nice snug fit. The next step will be to sand the top side, basically get the whole top surface smooth, as well as any imperfections like where that sticker was, and just using 120 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to basically sand. It doesn't take long at all, as you can see here. This is the bottom side, and this is what they call blowout, and I'm going to sand it as well. Not really necessary, but the buttons will still be able to go through and get good purchase, and same sandpaper, just go through and sand everything. Got everything laid out where I want to be as far as the joysticks. The buttons will have good purchase because I sanded the whole bottom side. So next I'm going to get everything lined up perfectly in the middle of the hole for the joystick shaft, and then mark my holes, then drill them. And this is the 4-way joystick that fits in there, and over here is the Tron joystick. The hole is a little bit bigger, and finally the trackball up here that fits in nice and tight. I kind of really like how everything is laid out, and it's going to work. Well, thank you for watching my video on BatMAME for arcade enthusiasts. This video covered the console, like making holes, cutting out the shape, the tools involved, which actually you don't need that many tools, just some basic hand tools, certainly not thousands of dollars worth of tools like I've seen other cabinet makers with like a CNC machine. I'm like, yeah, you don't need all that.